What's up, everybody? This is the Digital World Podcast, and we have a lot of news to go over today. So let's jump right into it. So thank you to 432 Hertz XRP, and he put out an article by Bank of America, and let's dive into this article and let's look at it. It says Bank of America says there's no good reason to own Bitcoin apart from speculation. Now, it says Bank of America has riled up the cryptocurrency community with its scathing report entitled Bitcoin's 30 Little Secrets on the cryptocurrency's appeal for speculators and its excessive energy use. As the largest coin continues to set all-time highs, Bank of America concludes that its ongoing rally is being propped up by inflows into Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the halving that took place last May, and growing institutional adoption. And they argue that there's no compelling reason to own Bitcoin other than expecting future price appreciation due to its correlation to other risky assets and volatility. They say Bitcoin has also become correlated to risk assets. It is not tied to inflation and remains exceptionally volatile, making it impractical as a store of wealth or payments mechanism. As such, the main portfolio argument for holding Bitcoin is not diversification, stable returns, or inflation protection, but rather sheer price appreciation, a factor that depends on Bitcoin demand outpacing supply. Now, there was a video that was circulating in which the gentleman was describing how if there is a 51% attack and people agreed to change the supply from 21 million to 30 million, then that could happen. And so, yes, they say it's a store of value, but that can change Bitcoin's, increase its supply essentially, based on what the gentleman was saying in the video. I'm not a technical individual. That's not my side of things, but it's just a very interesting thing to note where there could be a 51% attack and it could change the supply. So go figure. I guess time will tell. Time will tell. Thank you to James Rowe XRP for the next two articles that I'm going to show. And the first one being JP Morgan Stanley talking about the threshold being reached on crypto as an investable asset class. And sorry, it's this one right here. They say for speculative investment, opportunities to rise to the level of an investable asset class that can play a role in diversified investment portfolios requires transformational progress on both the supply and demand sides. With cryptocurrency, we think that threshold is being reached. Affirming regulatory framework, deepening liquidity, availability of products, and growing investor interest, especially among institutional investors, have coalesced. So, institutions, all these banks getting involved. However, we have to be careful. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of good news in regards to that, but we still haven't seen real utility kick in. I think that a lot of things, like there's still a lot of pilot programs going on with central banks, which I'll show in just a moment. There's a lot, they're piloting central bank digital currencies, and and so there's still a lot of movement happening. I mean, that doesn't mean it can happen soon, but I think we have to be aware that a lot of the price action that's going on now is not utility driven. There's a lot of speculation out there. But regardless, we're still seeing a lot of big players getting involved. They're encouraging digital assets. So, if that's anything, or if it means anything, I think right now all that it would mean is this asset class is here to stay. On another note, Visa wants the company to be in the middle of crypto as cash declines. And he states, this is the Visa CEO, Alfred Kelly, that cash and checks will be with us for some time, but I do think their usage will decline at an accelerated rate because of the pandemic. I mean, you've been seeing that. People were already using, Venmo, Cash App, all these these apps to process transactions already, but this has just accelerated it. People hardly even use cash anymore. I mean, when you go to the store, you can't even, like, some stores don't accept cash, so you have to pay with card. And it's just the reality of it. And we see here that he says these currencies that are fiat backed, but we're allowing this translation into a fiat currency and in a wallet where there's a Visa card. And again, that Visa card can be used with the translated digital currency over the fiat currency to make purchases. So he's saying this in regards to fiat peg tokens have a strong potential, he says here, to become a new payment vehicle and act as an accelerant in emerging markets around the world. And when I read this, it reminded me of what Chris Larson said in an interview with an individual. And he said he envisioned XRP being backed by, you know, the U.S. dollar and the top five world currencies. And so reading this, I was like, huh, there's some similarities in that. And so these people all know each other, and there's a coordination that seems to be happening worldwide. And so the idea of central bank digital currencies, I'm sure they've known for a while. And I think that the technology that XRP provides to improve cross-border payments and facilitating um, or minimizing the friction in the payment system. I think everyone's aware of it. You won't hear people talking about it. No, 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 because it's the one you don't talk about. And so I got to tell you, I think these people understand who brings utility to the market, and they know Bitcoin's not going to do that. Bitcoin will take hours to send, and it's slow, and it costs a lot to send. So big players are getting in the game. I want you to hear what Barry Silbert says. Now we know that there's been a lot of mention about the lawsuit on XRP, but he has an interesting perspective on it. And here, let's give a listen.
Recently, you launched your digital large cap fund, and as you mentioned, you also have the Ripple Investment Trust. I know some of your portfolio companies, particularly the top tier exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini, and Circle, they're all declining to list Ripple because it seems like a security. So, how did you choose Ripple and decide to also include it in your large cap fund?
It starts off with investor demand, and as evidenced by the activity in the trading of XRP and the market cap, there's clearly investor demand for it. And so for us, it was an easy decision to kind of just go through the list of tokens and do our own analysis around ones that kind of could be securities. And the conclusion, obviously, before we did this was that XRP was not a security. And its inclusion in the large cap funds, that we don't have discretion. That fund is it's a market cap weighted formulaic construct of a fund where it tries to essentially capture the top 70% market cap of the tokens, but there's exclusions around tokens that are not traded in U.S. dollar markets. There's exclusions around lack of custody solutions. There's exclusions around ones that may be deemed securities. So XRP being included in that large cap fund means that it's one of the largest, and we don't believe it's a security.
I mean, he said it, and this man has his credentials, and he knows what he's talking about. And I think we all know that XRP is not a security. You hear Brad Garlinghouse comparing it to Exxon, and you know, and the oil that it sells. And so I don't think much else needs to be said about that. I kind of gonna give you some just shotgun some news here, just to give you an idea of these institutions and these banks gearing up for this new digital age. First, starting with thank you to Mike Manfield for posting this. The central bank news. So the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System has launched the NQR payment solution, which is an innovative payment platform implemented on behalf of all financial services providers. Okay, so that's one of them. And let's see, he says this payment solution made available by banks and other financial institutions has been hailed by financial experts as the future of payments. ACI, a Rebel partner. Okay, you hear Grayscale. Now they've added Filecoin, Decentraland, Chainlink, BAT, Livepeer, and so I've heard a lot of talk about Filecoin recently, and it might be worth looking into. Then we see here Jamaica. They're ready for their CBDC later in 2021. So we see some action going on there. Thank you to 432 Hertz XRP. Then we see here the European Central Bank may soon push to regulate cryptocurrency. And here we go again. Facebook's Diem, their project has caught lawmakers' attention, and some want to give the European Central Bank more power to regulate such projects. And we know last time Libra was a catalyst for central banks, and so it'll be interesting to see. It seems like this Facebook project always seems to be a catalyst to something, and so we'll keep a close eye on that. I know the Digital Asset Investor had a series of videos on the Diem project, so that might be worth a watch for any of you who haven't seen it. And thank you to PRX, Bank of Japan will complete their initial phase of basic function testing in Tokyo by the end of April for national digital currency. Here we go. We see the news, we see the narrative. And then here's another one. Companies in the Republic of Ireland will have to comply with anti-money laundering rules. It will take effect in April, and this will bring crypto organizations on the same footing as mainstream financial services providers. And we know Brian Brooks, in his time at the OCC, he put into effect a lot of charters that allowed fintechs to get a banking license. So this is getting interesting by the minute. And I wanted to end with this because this is interesting. The European Union plans to have a digital green pass, and that will allow you to travel, but you'd have to be certified with certain requirements, such as you know. So if you want to give this video a watch, go ahead and do that. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a spooky side to this new world we're entering. But you got to keep a level head, control what you can control, but always keep in mind all the potential possibilities. Okay, and to end this video, I just like Lund Lud NL XRP, like he says, the big boys are still buying XRP because they know, and we also know. Okay, we see here that it seems to be going up, and this has been the case for a while, where they buy they just start buying off, and they're buying whatever the smaller percentage accounts are buying, so it just seems to be going up. So you think they know something? I think they do. Hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe, and let people know that the digital world is coming soon and that the big boys are participating in it. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.